House stayed through the Christmas break in order to get it done. The Senate Majority Leader said we'll get it done this Congress. Would you be okay if tax reform were not passed until next year as opposed to this year?
Well, I would like to see it be done this year, John. I would like very much to see it be done this year. So we won't go a step further. If we get it done, that's a great achievement. But don't forget, it took years for the Reagan administration to get taxes done. I've been here for 9 months, a little more than 9 months. I can say the same thing for health care. If you look at Obama, first of all, you look at Clinton, they weren't able to get it done. You look at other administrations, they weren't able to get it done. President Obama, after a long period of time, was able to finally push it through, but push through something that's now failed, really failing badly. But again, we're meeting, Democrat, Republican are meeting right now, and right now they're working on something very special. But I have to tell you, I really believe that we have a very good chance, and I think Mitch feels the same way, of getting the taxes done, hopefully fairly long before the end of the year. That's what we'd like to see. Go ahead.
Let me just add to what the President said. The goal is to get it done this calendar year. But it is important to remember that Obama signed Obamacare in March of year 2. Obama signed Dodd-Frank in July of year 2. We're going to get this job done, and the goal is to get it done by the end of the year.
Mr. President? And just to finish up for Mitch, and we're 9 months, right? So we could have a long way to go, but that's okay. Yes.
Thank you. One, do you still have confidence in Representative Tom Marino to be your drug czar? And on health care, in a recent tweet, you said the only problem I have with Mitch Mcconnell is that after hearing repeal and replace for 7 years, he failed. That should never have happened. Do you still think?
Well, let's go to the second part of your question with Mitch. Again, we've been doing health care for really 7 months, and probably 6 months if you think about it, because we started in probably a total of 6 months. Others were 2.5 years and much more than that. Others were 8 years, and they didn't get it passed. This man is going to get it done, okay? And I think get it done long before anybody else, and I think it's going to be a great health care. As far as Tom Marino, so he was a very early supporter of mine, the great state of Pennsylvania. He's a great guy. I did see the report. We're going to look into the report. We're going to take it very seriously because we're going to have a major announcement probably next week on the drug crisis and on the opioid massive problem. And I want to get that absolutely right. This country, and frankly, the world has a drug problem. The world has a drug problem, but we have it, and we're going to do something about it. So I'm going to have a major announcement on that problem next week. We're going to be looking into Tom.
Thank you, Mr. President. Trey Yanks with One American News. I'd like to ask you, do you support the plan by people who previously served in your administration, such as Steve Bannon, to primary Republican candidates in the 2018 elections who do not support your agenda?
Well, I have a very good relationship, as you know, with Steve Bannon. Steve's been a friend of mine for a long time. I like Steve a lot. Steve is doing what Steve thinks is the right thing. Some of the people that he may be looking at, I'm going to see if we talk him out of that because, frankly, they're great people. What Mitch will tell you is that maybe with the exception of a few, and that is a very small few, I have a fantastic relationship with the people in the Senate and with the people in Congress. I mean, I have with our House of Representatives. I have a great relationship with political people. If you read the papers, you think I'm like on one island and they're like on the other. Well, it's not the way it is. We have a fantastic relationship. I'm friends with most of them, I can say, and I don't think anybody could have much of a higher percentage, but I'm friends with most of them. I like and respect most of them, and I think they like and respect me. Just so you understand, the Republican Party is very, very unified. When we get things approved, we have to go through hell because we have no Democrat support. We have nobody. We don't have a vote from the Democrats. As an example, massive tax cuts. We may not get any Democrat votes. Now, we also may get 3 or 4. But we may get no for massive tax cuts. We're the highest tax country in the world. And yet we may get no Democrat support. And that's because they're obstructionists. And they just basically want us to do badly. But that's not going to happen. Yes, go ahead.
On the opioid crisis, I listened to you on the campaign trail talk about that repeatedly. You said you watched the 60 Minutes report last night.
Yes.
Number one, do you want to reverse the law that Congressman Marino helped pass that the DEA whistleblowers say has contributed to the expansion of the opioid crisis.
We're going to look at
in
that
the
very
country.
closely.
And does his sponsorship of that law in any way undermine your confidence in him as a president?
Well, he's a good man. I have not spoken to him, but I will speak to him, and I'll make that determination. And if I think it's 1% negative to doing what we want to do, I will make a change. Yes.
Declaring a national emergency, sir. A written national
One second,
emergency.
yes.
What about declaring a written national emergency for this crisis? You've talked about it, but you haven't.
We are going to be doing that next week. By the way, you know that's a big step. By the way, people have no understanding of what you just said. That is a very, very big statement. It's a very important step. And to get to that step, a lot of work has to be done, and it's time-consuming work. We're going to be doing it next week, okay?
Mr. President,
did you have a chance during your lunch today to discuss the comments that Steve Bannon made this weekend, and what do you make of those comments? Declaring war on the Republican Party, declaring war on you.
Look, the goal here is to win elections in November. Back in 2010 and 2012, we nominated several candidates, Christine O'Donnell, Sharon Angle, Todd Aiken, Richard Murdoch. They're not in the Senate. And the reason for that was that they were not able to appeal to a broader electorate in the general election. My goal as the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate is to keep us in the majority. The way you do that is not complicated. You have to nominate people who can actually win, because winners make policy and losers go home. We changed the business model in 2014. We nominated people who could win everywhere. We took the majority in the Senate. We had one skirmish in 2016. We kept the majority in the Senate. So our operating approach will be to support our incumbents, and in open seats to seek to help nominate people who can actually win in November. That's my approach. That's the way you keep a governing majority.
Mr. President, sir, Mr. President, Mr. President, sir, Mr. President, Mr. President, sir.
President, earlier today you criticized drug companies and also insurance companies, saying that drug companies were charging prices that were too high and insurance companies were taking government money.
Exactly right.
What specifically would you like to see both of those types of companies do?
So the insurance companies have made a fortune with Obamacare, an absolute fortune. As you know, what I did with the cuts at the end, which were all going, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars a month going right into the pockets of the insurance companies. And I'm very happy with what I did. And because of that, people are talking now. Democrats are talking to the Republicans for a short-term taking care of what we will call health care, so that people can have good health care without big spikes. You would have had massive spikes. You already have. I mean, every year, the massive spikes to Obamacare have been ridiculous. As far as, and I didn't speak to Mitch about this today, but a priority of mine, and you know that this is coming up, will be the cost of prescription drugs. We're going to get the costs way down, way down. And those drug companies, so you have the insurance companies in the one case. In the other case, actually, with regard to both, you have the drug companies. They contribute massive amounts